You have a model that you teach. You have a whole book about it called the live launch model. I was just curious about it. What is that?
When I was a newer coach, I did what all good new coaches do. And I signed up for the webinars and the courses, and I studied the launch models, and I bought into all the things. And for whatever reason, I just was failing. I was losing money launching. Like, it was not going well. And I came from a Fortune 500 background. I know how to sell. I know how to speak. I had been leading big businesses for a long time. Like, I was not like a new person, right? Mm-hmm. And during this time between when I started my business and when I was starting to launch, and as I was failing with launching, live streaming became available. Mm-hmm. So like, a lot of people forget that live streaming is still fairly new. Like, this was not a tool that we had. So I had been doing these methods, the very popular method that a lot of people do with the sideways sales letter, with the 80 PowerPoint slide decks and the professional cameras and the big studio and all of these things. And it was killing my soul. It was exhausting. It was expensive. It was frustrating. And I was making no sales from it. Like, I was like, so I was like, you know what? I got on the phone with my team one day and I was like, you know what, guys, we're throwing it all out the window. This live streaming thing is like, this is where it's at. This is what the future is. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm getting rid of all the tech. I'm getting rid of all the landing pages. I'm getting rid of all the everything. And I was like, and I'm not following a script. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm done with the script. I don't want to have to speak to a PowerPoint. I want to be present and just pour into the people that want to learn from me. And so I had no intention of ever teaching this to anyone else. I had no intention of getting into the launch space, but we went from a 10,000 launch to 100,000 to 1 million to, you know, far more than 1 million. And so I was like, okay, I think this is what I'm like meant to be doing. And really, what is it? It's reverse engineering. So like, as a coach, you have one core thing that you want to help people accomplish. Mm-hmm. It might be finding their soulmate. It might be losing weight. Like, right? Mm-hmm. It could be anything, but like, you have your one result. And all the live launch is asking yourself, if you could only have 3 sessions ever with this person to empower them to go get a result, the beginning of a result in this specific space that you teach in, what would you teach them? 4 building blocks. Mm-hmm. And so you break that down into 4 building blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the end of the 4th building block, you pivot into an invitation. You're like, cool, I poured into you. I taught you. I gave you how to take action. You've had a mindset shift. You have had a breakthrough. Now, would you like to continue this journey with me? Mm-hmm. And you just pivot into an invitation. And then on the back end of that, there are 5 specific sessions where you extend the invitation in all different ways. A lot of times it's through stories with your past clients and, you know, all different ways. But it's really the simplest, most direct way to add value and to invite people into your world.
So you're saying these are 5 live classes? Is that what you're saying?
All live.
Okay.
All live.
So 5 live classes, right? So you're saying day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5? Because you said 4 blocks. I'm just making
4 blocks and then 5 days of selling. So usually it's 9.
Oh, so it's 9 days.
9 days.
Okay.
Now, we've helped people do it in 3 days. We help people in 5 days.
Let's do this.
But the core methodology, like the methodology that like blew up my business, my client's business, the people that I've helped to really scale coaching practices, they were live for 9 days. Okay. And there's like science, there's brain science behind that, because again, remember we talked earlier, 11 hours of consuming your content. You know, adults need to hear things 8 times in order to get them. We're pretty slow, right? So there's a lot of like energetics behind someone coming and spending that amount of time with you in your business, learning from you. They feel a sense of connection to your brand. They feel a sense of trust, right? So 4 building blocks, invitation, 5 days of selling. So 9 live streams altogether.
Okay.
And yeah, it's not scripted.
And I'm not asking, so can I break it down a little bit? Because anybody that's listening might be, like I'm listening to this for the first time. It makes sense of what you're really saying. Yeah. So 4 building blocks, maybe the 4 pillars or 4 steps to something, right? So that's pretty straightforward for at least how I'm hearing it. It's like, if you want to find your soulmate, love yourself, define who you want to find, whatever random 4 steps that you have.
See, we're already helping people find their soulmates right here on this podcast.
Exactly. Because why not, you know? 2 birds with the same stone or whatever. Yes. So 4 days is that.
Yes.
And then you're saying 5 days of positioning or are selling, does that mean 5 days the same webinars that are offering, or is it, because this is all live, this is all happening live, it's all happening live. On social media, it's happening on your list, it's happening on whatever there is, you can go live.
So and I've had customers that have done it on Facebook. I have people that do it on LinkedIn because their audience is more corporate. I have people that use YouTube. So it's where your people are and where your audience is. Obviously, you can use Zoom and then stream into places, which is what we do. But when you get to that back half, to answer your question, the 5 days of selling, each day in the 5 days of selling, you're repeating the offer. So you're doing a full pitch. But every day you're still adding tons of value. So for me, even when I get into my 5 days of selling, I'm going to give you a mindset shift. I'm going to give you tangible action steps. I'm going to give you clarity on something. So it's almost like these feel like bonus sessions. So there's a reason for people to show up.
Yeah, that's
you want to give them a reason to show up. And their reason for showing up is that you are continuing to add value. So at the end of every class, you're like, and make sure you're here tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to be teaching this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
Right. So you continue to add value, you continue to make the offer. And then this is, of course, when you start bringing in like client testimonials and stories and case studies and social proof and all of those things.
And I'm just hypothesizing, but I assume on those 5 days, as adding value, you're probably also handling all the objections they might have in making that decision. So it's almost like you're doing a discovery call over 5 days.
Exactly.
If I may.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So again, someone can just say, I mean, I haven't done this in so long because it's been so many years of doing it now.
Fascinating, by the way.
Yeah, and it's so fun. I mean, I have been live launching in my businesses every 6 to 8 weeks for 6 years now. And I've never burned out. I still love it. And I think the reason why is you have the freedom to be like answering people's questions live and listening to your intuition. Like I'm a big intuition person. Like when I get ready for a live, like I'm not going on a script. I am like, I have something in my mind that I want to convey. I have something very clear I want to share, but I'm also trying to like ground myself into, how am I here to serve today? Like, what is the transformation I'm leading people through? What is the value I'm going to give? What are the questions I'm going to answer? What are the objections that I'm going to overcome with them? And I think that is very freeing for people. I think the way that webinars are taught, they're very constrained and confined and rigid. And if you're someone like me, and for some people that's amazing. Like some people love that and it's very comforting to them. For me, my soul can't deal with that. Like I want to feel like I can be free, you know? Yeah. And the big thing that is so unique about live launching is that we teach our clients to design a core live launch and then to cycle it. So they're cycling that same launch over and over and over again. And that is really important. And people don't realize how important it is. People need to get to know your brand. Yeah. They need to understand, who are you? What do you stand for? What's your one thing? And the way that launching is typically taught is that you'll create a launch, and then the next time you go to do a launch, you're recreating everything. And the problem with that is, beyond the fact that it's exhausting, it's time consuming, it's draining, it's so expensive, is that your market never sees you as the leading authority in anything. Yeah. Because you're changing what you're doing all the time, and you're changing it for yourself. You're not changing it for them. Yeah. Especially for coaches, this is important, because if you're selling high ticket, a lot of times people will come through more than one launch before they buy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so if you're, every time you're launching something different, people are like, wait, I thought you were the person that taught this. Yeah.
Why are you teaching
now you teach this? Yeah. Why? And it actually breaks trust, because they're like, wait a second, if this was going well, like why, right?
No, and also they don't see you as an expert.
Exactly.
They go, oh, you're like, you're going to just swing wherever you want to swing, or wherever you need to swing.
Exactly.
And that's why you choose whatever you choose, really. And you make it better every time, of course.
Exactly.
Like
you're always get better. Iterating.
Yeah, you're making things better versus trying to go, okay, I'm going to go this other wave.
Exactly.
Maybe you didn't think it through when you were making the decision. If you're changing the wave every time that,
exactly.
Every time you feel a little dip in revenue, or every time you want to boost the revenue a little bit, you go, I'm going to just change again. That doesn't work. Yeah.
And especially new coaches, they're like, they want to change it every time. And I'm like, no, you're not understanding it. It's almost like you're trying to create an inroad in the market. And that inroad can only be created through that repetition and that trust building that happens through that being repeated. And every time you start over, you're literally starting over. And I think that is an important message for new coaches to hear.